What's up, Ocean? You got Matt here, and today I'm going to teach you how to use Zeraora in less than 10 minutes. If you guys are excited, make sure to leave a like and of course comment which Pokemon you want to see next for more. Now, it's been a while since I did one of these videos, and I'm sorry for that, but we're back today and we're talking about one of my newest favorite Pokemon to use, and that's going to be Zera. This Pokemon is fantastic, and as always, we're going to talk about its stats, Movepool, its ability, some potential items, some really good teammates, some really bad teammates, some team examples, and finally, its place in the metagame. And if you guys are excited again, leave a like, do that favor for me. Looking at Zera's stats, you can see why it's so impressive. It has 143 base speed. It is the fastest good Pokemon. Yes, Regieleki is there, but that's not a good Pokemon. Yes, Electrode is there, but again, not a good Pokemon. This thing, Zera, is on another level. It is one of the arguably 5 to 10 best Pokemon in Draft League, and its stats show you why. 143 speed, like I said, is amazing. Best in the game outside of like really insanely weak stuff. Then there's its attacking stats. 112 attack, 102 special attack allows it to be a really well-rounded Pokemon. Its defense is at 88 HP, 75 defense, and 80 special defense is really nothing to laugh at. And it gets better because you don't have to invest your full investment into Zera's speed. You really don't have to. The reason for that is because you can creep for basically anything. Most teams are going to have a Pokemon around maybe 120, 125 is their fastest. Very few Pokemon are going to be faster than that, and you can outspeed those pretty easily. But then on top of that, most teams are going to want to outspeed you maybe with a Scarfer, but they can't do that because you're so damn fast. You can outspeed Scarf-based 70s, 75s, I believe even 80s as well, which is insane to think about. Looking at this, you can invest all that HP, all that speed investment into your HP, which would allow you to take these hits for days and allow you to be a really good pivot in on multiple attacks, be 2-KO'd instead of O-KO'd by a lot of different things, which is really solid, or even 3-KO'd when you would normally be 2-KO'd, which is super nice. As for its typing is decent. It's not great, it's not bad. Pure Electric is just, again, okay. It has 2 resistances, one to Steel and one to Flying. And while it's nice that you resist those types, it's not that necessary because while they're really good offensively, they're just not that common. Flying is nice, but again, not very common. You're not the bulkiest thing in the world. But anyways, you do outspeed them anyways, and hit them for stab, super effective damage, so it's really nice there. It has 1 weakness to ground types, which again is pretty common, and most teams have 1 to 2 ground immunities, and then a ground resist on top of that to deal with like Zygarde's 1,000 Arrows, so I'm not too broken up about that. Where it's really cool though, it is that it has so many just neutral type attacks. I mean, you can take many hits. You can take a +1 dragon attack from a lot of different Pokemon because of your investments and because of your stat distribution and because you're not weak to them, which is huge. In general, Zera's typing, while it may seem like a bit of a hindrance being just pure electric, it's still a really good typing all overall. Now, I forgot to mention that Zera does have a third, technically, resistance in electric, but we would talk about its ability, which is Volt Absorb, meaning that resistance is now an immunity, which is so much better. You are now immune to opposing Volt Switches, opposing Thunderbolts, opposing Plasma Fist if it's a mirror match. Whatever you need to do in terms of electric attacks, it is so good, and it heals you up as well, which is very nice. That frees up so much for Zera. You can be an amazing partner with Pokemon that would be, well, immune to ground type Pokemon. Because if you have a Pokemon like Latios, which is immune to ground type attacks, you can pivot back and forth, and they can't just go for a Volt Switch, or can go for an electric attack on your Latios, or a better example, I guess, would be a Corviknight. Just something like that that's immune to ground type attacks and weak to electric type attacks is a really good partner in those situations. It allows Zera to be sort of like a backup ground type in a way, because in situations where you're dealing with really good electric type Pokemon, something like a Tapu Koko, you don't necessarily have to run your ground type, which might be weak to Grass Knot. Instead, you can have your Zera, which can be a secondary check to it, which is really useful to have. Let's go ahead and talk about its moveset. What can Zera run? Well, Zera's moveset is, in my opinion, pretty much perfect. There's very few things I would give to it other than what it has already. Starting off with its signature move, Plasma Fist. Plasma Fist is a 100 base power physical electric type attack with no downside. That is better than basically every other physical electric move in the game. On top of that, if your opponent goes for a normal type attack, Plasma Fist will make so that normal type attack turns into an electric type attack, which you are then immune to, healing you up as well. Super useful. Then there's something like Knockoff. Knockoff for support is so damn nice to have. Without Knockoff, this Pokemon would be a lot less useful in the tier list. You can get rid of opposing Wakan Berries, you can get rid of opposing Boots, Leftovers to make 2-KOs into 1-KOs, or no, other way around, 3-KOs into 2-KOs, and that's just so damn useful. On top of that, you have really good fighting coverage. You have access to 2 really good physical and 2 really good special fighting type moves. You have Close Combat and Drain Punch on the physical side, one for more damage and one for recovery. And another one, you have Aura Sphere and Focus Blast. Again, same reason, you want to have damage with Focus Blast, or you want to have accuracy with Aura Sphere. Those options are really useful and help break through opposing Steel type Pokemon that you're going to be facing off against. Then Zera has some really useful coverage moves. We're looking at moves like Outrage, Play Rough, we're looking at Blaze Kick, Grass Knot, Volt Switch. All these moves have their niches and be really good in certain situations. Then there's its setup. Zera can set up really well. Why? Because it forces so many switches. So getting a free switch and you're getting a chance to go for a Calm Mind or a bulk up, you can really break your opponent's team, which is super useful. I've seen Zeraora's 1v1 Zygardes to say something. That's crazy to think about, but they have done it, and they've done it to me, which is saying something. Anyways, I think Zeraora's moveset is fantastic. Anything else, any way to hit ground types and it'd be a bit too good, they're poking that wallet like everything does. Potentially like a Nidoking or Nidoqueen would wall this Pokemon, but again, everything has Pokemon that check it. You have to find a way. You have to find a way to break through those Pokemon, and that is exactly what team building is all about. Moving on to items and sets. Some of the most popular and best items on Zera are the heavy duty boots. Boots are fantastic because Zera really relies on switching in and out so many different times to form advantage for you with volt switching with your powerful attacking moves. So having boots there so you don't have to take rocks, spikes, webs is really useful. And then on top of that, because the bulk that you can invest in your HP, in your defenses, because you don't have to invest so much in your speed, you can make hits go from 2 KOs to 3 KOs. And if you're taking rocks, then you wouldn't be taking those 3 KOs anymore, they'd be 2 KOs again. So boots kind of gets you around that, which is super nice. Then there's the extra belt and the life orb, which is really good for just putting out as much damage as possible. So really useful in certain situations. Extra belt if you just need a bit of power and you can't afford taking the damage, and life orb if you really need that power, just the damage is going to be okay with you taking that hit, which is fine. It's 10%, not the biggest deal in the world. Then there's leftovers. Like I said before, Zera forces so many switches. So having a Pokemon with leftovers you can sub up freely, get a free bulk up, get a free Calm Mind, and just start breaking things is really nice. Moving on to partners, we're going to look at Smogon first. We're looking at Pokemon like Rillaboom and Landorus. Why those two? Well, both of them form a nice Volturn core with Zera, which is super useful. Rillaboom has access to grassy terrain, which not only weakens earthquake damage to Zera, but also recovers it at the same time, which is super nice in a lot of different situations. Then Landorus is immune, straight up immune to ground type attacks, which is awesome. It's a backup electric immunity for Zera as well. They form a great Volturn core, and offensively they hit really hard together. So again, really solid combinations there. As for Draft League, we're going to look at the draftleague.nl website hosted by Automatic, and there's a couple Pokemon here that I don't necessarily agree with fully, but I understand the appeal. Starting off, the number one most popular one there is Primarina. Now, Prim is great. I love Prim. I think it's a very good pairing with Zera because Prim is weak to electric type attacks and Zera is immune to them. And then Prim can break through the opposing ground types for Zera. It has a bit of trouble dealing with the grass types, but that's why Ice Beam is there, which is super nice in certain situations. It's followed by Skarmory and Corviknight. I don't personally agree with these, but again, the appeal, I understand it. Skarmory gets up spikes, gets up rocks for Zera. It's also immune to ground, which is super nice, and Zera is immune to one of its weaknesses in electric. Then there's Corviknight. Corviknight forms a nice Volturn core with Zera, but again, it's immune to its only weakness, which is super useful. So in general, I get the appeal again. I just would not draft these myself because they're both usually pretty expensive and there are other options you can get for a lot cheaper point value. That's my personal opinion. The draftleague.nl website also says that Rillaboom and Mamoswine are really good partners, which makes sense because of Rillaboom, the Volturn core, grassy terrain we already said before, but Mamoswine because ice types are so good with Zera, and we're going to see why in a little bit. Moving on to my thoughts, my opinions on Pokemon to pair with Zeraora. And we're looking at some really powerful ice types to start. We're looking at Kyurem, we're looking at Weavile, we're looking at Gallagher. These Pokemon are fantastic to pair with Zeraora. They all have their really good usefulnesses, but Kyurem is a bit more bulky than the other two, has access to Freeze Dry, which is fantastic to help deal with opposing water types that might be weak, or immune rather, to electric attacks like the Swamperts of the world or the Quagsires of the world. Then you also have a Weavile, which can break through its opposing checks because of triple axle and knockoff. You also then have Gallagher, which forms a beautiful U-turn core, which is fantastic with Zera, like we mentioned before. Then there's Pokemon like Swampert. I like Swampert a lot because it gives you like a backup ground immunity, or electric immunity rather, which is super nice, has access to rocks as well, and it's just bulky in general and provides you with good momentum. You can also kind of substitute that with Quagsire or Gastrodon, even though they don't get rocks, but you can then swap that too with Seismitoad if you really need the hazard option. Then, finally, I'm going to mention Quillfish and Roserade as a bit of an honorable mention, and the reason for that is because both of them get access to spikes and toxic spikes. And I find that combination is really nice with Zera. You want the hazard support with the Pokemon as fast and as powerful, and that forces as many switches as Zera does. So highly take a look into those two Pokemon. As for Pokemon I would not partner. I would not partner this Pokemon with Heatran. Why? Heatran is 4 times weak to ground type attacks. And while it's not bad necessarily that it's 4 times weak to ground, because there are going to be other Pokemon that are going to be weak to ground in your team, it's just a fact. The reason why I wouldn't pair it is because Heatran is really expensive. I don't want to use most of my budget on 2 Pokemon that are weak to the same or really common type. Just get another lower, cheaper steel type or fire type, and then you'll be in a much better spot. Use your higher budget on Pokemon that are going to support Zera really well, and Heatran just doesn't do the work. Then there's Bronzong and Registeel. Why don't I like these Pokemon? Well, I don't like them with Zera because they're both really passive, in my eyes at least. Both of them get hazards, which is nice, but they're both really passive and pretty weak in a lot of situations outside of like Heavy Slam or Body Press or Gyro Ball. That's really it. And again, if you're facing off against something that is weak or immune rather, or is able to take the hit really well from those Pokemon, or is immune to status, you're kind of in a tough spot. So I felt like having these two Pokemon on the list was going to be pretty important. Again, not the worst pairing, but just a pairing that I would not look at all with Zeraora. Let's take a look at some potential teams. I have two teams on the screen for you guys right now. I have the first team, which is my team for the APA this season. It has Zeraora with the Galar Dharma. It also has the Spike support from Roserade, and also has the Swampert with Momentum as a backup electric immunity, which I found to be super useful, and I'm having a ton of fun with it. It's only been a few weeks with it so far, but it's been so much fun to use this team. Then we're looking at a team like Q and the Chicago Dragapult, and this team has Zera on it, and this is also for the APA in a previous draft that we had for it, but he's got Zeraora paired with Lele as well, which is really useful to have as a way to break through a lot of opposing Pokemon, opposing steel types that kind of want to take hits from a lot of these Pokemon. They pressured really well. On top of that, it gets rid of terrain, or not terrain, but priority because of the terrain for Zera, which can be super useful. Then there's a Pokemon there like Dracovic, which is super nice because again, you're pivoting back in and out with Zera, getting into a Pokemon like Dracovic, which can then destroy those opposing teams. And what does Zera do? It breaks down bulky waters for something like Dracovic, which is super nice. Well, anyways, that's how to use Zeraora in less than 10 minutes. At least I hope it's been less than 10 minutes. And if you guys enjoyed this video, you can leave a like, of course, it'd be really helpful to the channel. Also, commenting is the best way to help the channel grow. So if you guys made it this far, comment the letter V down below. If you want to vote on the next Pokemon, you have to follow me on Twitter. I post the polls there to see which Pokemon will be covered next. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time.